Hi, Shani, who all are there?
Hi, Vivek. We have you, we have Mr. Ravi Agarwal.
Okay.
I've not gone on broadcast yet.
Right. That's okay. I think we'll do once we see people have joined in, right?
Yeah.
And then we can see the Q&A window as well. Hi, Ravi. Good morning.
Hi, Vivek. Hi, Ravi.
Hi, Swati. How are you?
Good.
Hi, good morning, Vivek. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ishani.
Good morning, Swati.
We were to go on a GoToMeeting or Zoom?
Zoom itself.
This is a Zoom webinar. Yeah. Change this infrastructure.
अच्छा है, शेयर्ड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में तुम्हारे दूसरे लोग धक्का बहुत मारते हैं यार.
What happened? You found some problem on that?
नहीं.
Okay. Now, there is a lot of talk about whether we should go on Zoom or GoToWebinar. Our experience with GoToWebinar has not been very good, actually. And there is a different talks around Zoom as well. So, but I think it's going from the arena of China to US now. People say that it is US owned, not really China owned, right? While funded by China, and China is pulling out.
Well, let me tell you, Vivek, the challenge is I have seen Chinese data centers and server hubs, and the servers for Zoom are in China. So any server put in China has to conform to certain norms and government access. And that is where the real contention is as far as India is concerned.
Right. But I heard that they are pulling out all the infrastructure as well, and they are diverting it to US or Singapore, one of those places.
Well, let's see. I mean, to tell you the truth, we vacated one of our offices in China because they wanted to operate a data center there. And the kind of cost and infrastructure which China offers, I think it's unparalleled. The only other place where data centers and server hubs are coming is Norway.
Right, Norway is another place, yes.
But I mean, I have seen some Chinese data centers, and they are, I must appreciate, irrespective of other issues, they're really impressive.
Right. I mean, they are good there. I mean, I think if you see the hardware is something where they have really conquered that, right?
Vivek, running cost China की सबसे कम है data center की. That is where the roost is.
So agenda for today will remain same, Ravi, right? Basically, it will start with, so we want to kind of, first of all, change this whole thought process when people will join in. I'll repeat few of the things. But basically, we are changing our ways we do this. We don't call it as webinar anymore, right? Because there's enough webinars. Hi, Aditya. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Vivek. Aditya
here. Can you hear me?
Good morning, Aditya ji.
Good morning, Aditya. Swati this
side. Good morning.
Good morning.
Great to see you, Aditya. You would have been back to back, right?
Yeah, I'm in Bhopal plant today.
Oh, okay.
Sitting in the conference room. That's why this mask is also there, because I have to go inside the plant. So
I know.
Following all the SOPs, for COVID-19, So
Correct. My son studies out of Bhopal actually. He's in Manet, Bhopal. So he's here right now.
okay. Right.
So I know Bhopal a bit.
Right. Just Vivek, I have 1 minute. I'll go out and come back. You just give me 1 minute.
Sure.
Somebody's calling. Just 1 minute.
Just to let you know, none of the attendees can join in until I start the broadcast. So maybe another minute or so, then I'll start the broadcast.
Yeah, so what we can do, Ishani, we'll just do a quick primer once Aditya comes back, right? While I don't know, Kush should have joined by now. Let him join, but he knows the sequence. But I think taking advantage of this time, Ravi. So you are basically have got some industry research where digital integration has been put on priority. That's where I connect you there, right? And as said, it's going to be very interactive. It's not going to be like speaker to speaker and then go back. So we all take the inputs from the doctor, which is Aditya, and we respond to him. Similar is the way for you, Swati. I see Kush also joining in.
Yeah.
Hi, Kush. Good morning.
Hi, Vivek. Good morning.
All good?
All good.
Good. I think we have the quorum, Aditya. Aditya has just joined. He's just stepped out for some time. And looks like Ravi is also going back. So, Kush, since you joined, so our sequence is same, basically. We have Aditya, who's going to be our center stage today, right? Imagine this to be like a mini workshop, right? The participants are very rich. We have around 150 participants. I would not worry about the numbers, but they are very rich. 80% of them are director level or VP level, right? So these are decision makers, influencers, directly from the industries, various parts of the industries. They're very curious. They have also kind of put their challenges, how they see the challenges. Right? And of course, one of the things to our surprise, Ravi, not to our surprise, I would say, they are talking about digital integration in different ways. They might not be using that word, but they are saying that I have used solution bits and pieces, but everybody comes and sells their solution, but I'm not able to get a holistic view, right? In terms of how I can absorb that or consume that into a meaningful insight or an action, right? Which is what digital integration would mean, right? So ultimately it is in bits and pieces. So another thing I was telling Kush while you were just joining, that it is going to be very interactive, right? For example, your outbound solution on supply chain is going to be very important. Ishani, we should wait for 2 minutes before we start the broadcast.
Okay.
Hi, Aditya.
Hello. I'm back.
Just wanted to add that I've made everybody a co-host, so they'll be able to broadcast their own presentations. That'll kind of give a clarity for me to work backhand on the audience questions and all, and you to present slides as per your requirement.
Sure. So Aditya, you are at the center stage. We are seeing you at the center of all the images of the video we have, right?
No problem.
We'll make it very simple. So the way we had discussed, Aditya, in terms of how we want to really broadcast this. So you are our adopter, right? So you are going to be speaking about your industry. You know it much better, right? In terms of how industry has been struggling and how you are across the plants, you are trying to cope up and doing the current planning or creating a 30, 60, 90, 180 days plan. Right? While you will put through your challenges and how you have met those challenges, everybody else here is the provider to you, right? And it's like a mini conclave workshop, you can call it, right? Or a brainstorming session on a round table, where people like Swati, people like Kush, they come from very established industries, small and medium enterprises, have already got the canned solutions and solutions they can integrate with the enterprise. Ravi, I don't know. Ravi can introduce himself. Time is less. Let me go forward introducing him. He is the president of AIA, Automation Industry Association. Very much veteran in the industry in terms of doing digital integration is what he has eyed on, right? NASSCOM and AIA has been signing. It's going to soon sign. We have already developed the MOU around how we develop this ecosystem and take it to the next plane, like taking the digital integration agenda, creating a cookbook, right, of how people can adopt that, right? He's going to talk about digital integration because there are a lot of solutions which needs to be integrated enterprise wide. So he's going to be talking around that, but it's going to be very interactive with you, Aditya.
Right.
Please do accept people rephrasing your sentences and asking you questions. And of course, the audience, we have very rich audience. So I think let's start, Ishani.
Yeah, I think we should start.
We'll start and wait for 2-3 minutes
Sure.
For people to just join.
Sure.
Yeah, the numbers have started. Maybe Shani, you can initiate and tell people that they can. We're just waiting for the people to join.
Sure. Hi everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the third edition of Voice of Manufacturing. We'll be waiting for a couple of more minutes so that more people can join in, and then we'll start the webinar with the eConclave.
We've already got the questions started coming in, right? Of course, I'll park these questions towards the end. There are already 5 or 8 questions there.
Right. So, what is the expected audience approximately? Just today?
It's around 160-70 people, but these are very selected audience, and I'll share the analytics around that so that you know the audience. And we have most of these people, around 70 to 80% of these people are very senior people like directors, VPs of industries like automotive industry. People are coming from food and supply chain as well. People are coming from heavy engineering industry. I've seen people from BHEL as well coming in here to that extent. We have startups, some range of startups also coming in here. Very curious to see how they can come to rescue and help. And automation companies, and of course, software solution companies as well.
Okay.
So maybe Ishani, we can get started. We can start because as the real thing starts coming in, we'll get the more numbers joining because we're already 8 minutes beyond our time. Let's kick it off.
Hi everyone, good morning. Welcoming you all to the third edition of Voice of Manufacturing, Unlocking with Self-Reliance. It's an initiative under the INDIC program of NASSCOM COE, INDIC being Industry Digital Innovation Consortium. I'm Ishani Das. I'm the Co-Create and Innovation Manager at the NASSCOM Center of Excellence, and I work on digital innovation and transformation in Industry 4.0. I will be your anchor for the day today, and I will start by briefing you about the initiative, providing a glimpse of the agenda, and introducing our panelist team. So as you know, we had a first webinar, Voice of Manufacturing webinar on the 23rd of April, followed by the second webinar on 21st of May. We have now moved on to the eConclave. The format being changed, we'll have it to be a bit more interactive and a session with a lot of takeaways and key insights that will be provided. So this would be focused on addressing the hard-pressing needs for scalable digital solutions for the manufacturing industry, especially post-COVID as industry unlocks. The convergence and scaling of innovation is believed to enable digital transformation and thereby fulfilling the objectives of increasing the Industry 4.0 quotient, accelerating the adoption and improving self-reliant manufacturing delivery of the...
Shani, could you pop up the deck?
Yeah, I'll start with the deck. I'll surely look at that. Is my screen visible?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the focus area today is going to be managing manufacturing challenges digitally and how digital solutions help in impacting the undertaking the digital transformation journey for the industry. To introduce our panelists, we have Mr. Aditya Srivastav, Senior Vice President, Manufacturing Operations, Volvo Eicher. We have Mr. Ravi Agarwal, President, Automation India Association. Mr. Kush Mishra, Chief Technical Officer, Sendra, and Ms. Swati Tiwari, Founder and Managing Director, Arcuterus Business Solutions. We have Mr. Vivek Saha, the Director and Head, Digital Transformation and Industry 4.0, NASSCOM, COE. To kind of give you a brief about our panelists, Mr. Aditya Srivastav, he has an overall experience of about 32 years of automobile and engineering industry and exposure to lean manufacturing. He currently looks after the activities of manufacturing, production, technical services, quality assurance for VE Powertrain, Parts Division, and Bus Manufacturing. Prior to VECV, he's worked with organizations such as Punj Lloyd, General Motors, Honda Cars, and DCM Toyota. Next, we have Mr. Ravi Agarwal. He's the Managing Director, Pepper and Folds Factory Automation, President, AIA Automation Industry Association, and he also serves as the Director for Foundation for Smart Manufacturing under the Samarth Udyog program of Department of Heavy Industries, Government of India. Associated with the field of process and manufacturing automation, he's earlier worked in tandem with Industrial Design and Development Center, IIT Delhi, and ABB. As the president of AIA, he leads the Automation Connect to manufacturing, industry, academia, and government, and initiatives on education and skill for automation and proliferation of smart automation, Samarth Udyog, and I40 concepts. We have Kush Mishra, currently the CTO of Sendra. He's an alumni of IIT Roorkee and Indian School of Business with about 10 years of experience in product engineering and management. He's authored multiple research publications in advanced materials and has a lot of patents in the field of IoT electronics, drones, and database algorithms. Rich exposure in embedded hardware and software architecture, specializing in IoT, M2M, wireless protocols, and LoRaWAN. As one of the earliest evangelists of Internet of Things revolution in India, he has been responsible for spearheading several consumer IoT products for the global market. We have Ms. Swati Tiwari, who happens to be a graduate of electrical engineering with a master's in international business. She recently founded the Arcuterus Business Solutions in 2014. Has about experience of 27 years in the power sector in generation, transmission, and distribution. She specializes in tariff-based competitive bidding, TBCB, of transmission projects, and her core competency being bidding, procurement, and contract management. She has entrepreneurial skill developed at her IIM Ahmedabad alumnus and Stanford Business School, being ETPOA 2015 and India Innovate Growth Program. As an entrepreneur, she works towards commercialization of the AI analytical algorithms in the energy and power market and looks after the overall program management and business development expansion in government, private, and public sectors. Last but not the least, we have Mr. Vivek Saha, Director and Head Digital Transformation and Industry 4.0 NASSCOM COE. He has a vast experience in the consulting background, digital transformation, and hands-on experience in digital technologies. He's a practitioner of digital transformation and has worked with organizations such as Accenture, HP Enterprises, and he mostly prefers putting to use his practical experience with practical use to his experiences. With this, I would like to move on to the next slide and talk a little about the Industry Digital Innovation Consortium program that we have. So the Industry Digital Innovation Consortium is basically a collaborative ecosystem leading into business value based digital transformation. The main objectives being promoting Industry 4.0 innovation quotient, accelerating industry adoption of digital solutions with desired outcomes, and increasing manufacturing efficiencies. So just to give you an idea, INDIC is part of the NASSCOM COE IoT and AI. And NASSCOM COE IoT and AI has been established under the Digital India Program of Government of India, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, and the State Government of Haryana. Different state governments, basically. We have 4 physical centers, one of them being the State Government of Haryana, to enable technology adoption and technology innovation across various sectors. INDIC was launched this year in 2020, and it has already built an ecosystem platform that comprises of the complete industry value chain and stakeholders such as the startups, SMEs, larger enterprises, associations, and government entities, policymakers. As I mentioned, the main aims of INDIC is to promote Industry 4.0 quotient, accelerate industry adoption, increase the manufacturing efficiency. We have in place the innovation model. The innovation model is basically the roadmap and the pathway that we have to executing our objectives. So discover, design, and scale. Considering that the INDIC program has been launched by the NASSCOM COE leadership, we have a full 360-degree value with all the relevant stakeholders. Like I mentioned, the SMEs, the tech providers, the user adoption group, the associations, and the government. Discover and design basically would include incubating a challenge, evangelizing innovation technologies and different channels that we could adopt in achieving our objectives, conducting roundtables, undertaking pilot projects, and undertaking use case deployments to showcase the proof of value of how a technology impacts the sector. Digital integration happens to play a very major role. Basically, so to say, it is the preparedness towards execution. Before we execute, we need to have a clear pathway defined, which would help us in achieving our objectives. So just to say that the ecosystem is supposedly benefiting all the stakeholders, it's a national level platform towards the industry adoption for digital transformation. It provides the 360 view of all the different stakeholders and helps to interplay their strengths. It helps in thought leadership and deep understanding, basically undertaking projects of understanding the needs and challenges across industry value chains, whether it be production, supply chain, logistics, or whichever. It's a collaborative decision-making and focused on interconnected execution. Each stakeholder plays a very relevant role on this. We also have the outside-in approach and the end-user adoption centricity. So considering the fact that a user group or an adoption group is basically the only one who can talk about the manufacturing challenges that they actually have on hand in the real time, is something that we consider and try and build solutions across to solve them. We also have the interplaying of the partner strengths to create innovation industry solutions. in integrating the technology innovation platform and evangelizing advanced digital channels on or emerging technologies to bring impactful transformation. With this, I would want Mr. Vivek Saha, Director, NASSCOM COE, to kind of elaborate on this and take forward the session.
Yeah, thanks, Ishani. I think without spending too much of time, I'll not take too much time on the talk. I think there are very eminent speakers here. Just to give on this slide, of course, as a reference, right? We have established these principles way back at the start of this year when we had launched INDIC, which is Industry Digital Innovation Consortium, right? The idea is to take along all the strategic partners, and I think to address the weakest link of the whole ecosystem, which is execution, right? With that, let me talk about a bit of news. Basically, everybody is aware where we have been depending on a lot on Chinese exports, Chinese products or components which are imported for automotive industries and other industries, right? There's a big talk about how there are different product launches getting delayed, right? And of course, while the supply or the requirement have started coming in back, right? I've heard that a lot of demands are coming back, but the supply is becoming a problem, right? So till now we have been crying about the supply, about the demands, whether it will boom or not. The demands have boomed up, but the supply has still to be managed because all of the network around the supply chain is all blocked up. There's also talk about boosting electric vehicle sector, right? It has got a catch-22 game out there. We all know it. One side, government is boosting the schemes to generate the demand. Other side, there is a heavy duty on the manufacturers, right? So that needs to be balanced. Next one, please, Shani. So how do we, I think a lot of people have been seeing all the news. We all have been seeing all this news, and I'm sure Aditya would agree to a certain extent because he has been in thick of things. How these are turning into an opportunity for us, right? We are becoming, we will become self-reliant, right? And it is by force. We call it as Atmanirbhar Bharat. We have to we have to build the domestic manufacturing or localization of Chinese imported components, right? We are forced to do that, which means forced innovation for us, right? Second one, please. Genesis of digital, right? The people who are coming as taking the opportunity of localization of Chinese imported components have to start ingraining digital within, right? That's the biggest opportunity for them, right? It's very hard to invest later on in doing a catch-all game rather than be the starter, right? And taking the advantage. Next one, please. Green revolution, right? So we talked about electric vehicle. It's a big opportunity, right? Yes, we cannot go out. We cannot take our vehicles out. You can see a more greener climate. Our air quality index is going down, which is very, very good for us. And I think it's a good time for electric vehicles to also come out. Next one, please. I heard this in one of the forums. I'll not tell which forum. A very, very big forum where one of the key CEOs, CEO talked about that we should stop China producing something, or we should safeguard ourselves. And there was a very good answer out there, right? People were saying that we should really talk about only domestic manufacturing, and also things which we are manufacturing and getting from China, part of it should also be stopped, right? The other person on the counter was talking about quality competitiveness. So it's not like a war on who can produce what. It is more around a competitive war that who can produce a quality product, right? And I really like that, right? What we can develop indigenously today, right? And becoming self-reliant will give us a lot of breather in the future and a lot of self-dependency. So with that, next one, please. Just to let everyone know, and Aditya was asking this question, this is the analytic around the participant we have today out here, right? Thank you so much. People have also joined from US, Great Britain, at this crazy time. I know it will be very early for Great Britain. I don't know what time in the US, right? But we have a global presence beyond India, right? Which really elevates our thought. Really makes me very excited when me and Ishani created this morning, right? So these are your target audience: Aditya, Ravi, Kush, Swati, right? You are addressing. And if you quickly go on to the industry challenges, Ishani, just bring it all. People are talking about these challenges. So we have pre-collected challenges, what people are seeing it. And I'm sure many of them are coming from automotive industry as well, right? Lack of preparedness, people are not really sure where to start with. Digital integration, Ravi would love this topic. Insufficiency of balancing demand forecasting and rerouting supply chain. I'm sure this is a challenge for Aditya. Change management issues, mental preparedness everywhere. Adaptability of emerging digital technologies has always been there, right? Now it's a hardship for the people to change. Last but not the least, finding digital savvy manpower, right? We have manpower, we can say skilled manpower, dedicated manpower, but are they blended with digital savvy technologies? So with this, I would pass on the baton to the center stage presenter. And of course, this is more like an interactive session for all of us. Imagine this to be like a workshop, right? Happening with Aditya at the center stage. And we are trying to kind of come to his rescue to help, right? While he might reject some of our options, which is okay. But the idea is to kind of create a sample workshop out here and make him come. Over to you, Aditya.
Thank you, Vivek. I think first of all, let me thank you personally, Vivek, and then NASSCOM for giving me this opportunity, or rather, I would say platform, to discuss. This is a very important, I would say, like future for us. Industry 4.0 is adaptability, challenges, and how to take it forward for future. And I got a small presentation also lined up here. Probably Shani can play that. Before I go to the presentation, I've got some 10, 12 slides are there. I'm not not an expert on this subject, but certainly very much interested to know what is happening around the world on this subject. And from my background, I know that this is the future actually. And with my earlier experience with the companies like earlier with the Toyota and General Motors, and of course joining iShare with now it's a partner with Volvo Group. I've seen a lot of applications in industry, and I've visited many plants across globe. Right from Japan to Sweden to France, and all Asian countries. I've seen a lot of applications on IT side. But when we talk about Industry 4.0, the applicability in terms of using the system in a Wi-Fi environment or remote location or connectivity, things are changing very fast. And keeping that in mind, when I made this presentation, I have a couple of, I would say, like sequential flow I have captured in my presentation, which I'm going to share with you all. Is that that's the thought process I have, at least, and my team has got this thought process that let's see holistically the entire IoT thing and how we can use it for our benefit or industry benefit. So with that background, I would like to share a couple of slides here. And to be honest, we struggled a lot actually. We are still struggling. We are a learner, still learning the process, and very difficult to I would say, make a beginning in many areas. Despite having some of the best processes, as I mentioned, that I worked with earlier some, great companies, and Fortune 500 companies, including currently I'm associated with Eicher and Volvo, and both are, leading in their own ways and giants in industry. But despite that, and even my experience, I'm still struggling, I would say, from adaptability point of view. We have some very, very strong, fundamentally placed system in the, our organization. Despite that, we have challenges. So I'm going to cover some of those challenges and how we see it, and perhaps look towards this consortium or this forum to help us, and so that we do better on this area. So I'm going to a couple of slides on my organization, and then challenges we are facing in the organization, and what we are doing to overcome those challenges, and then we'll leave it for the rest of discussion with the team here. So Ishani, can you go to slide next? Am I audible clearly, Vivek? My voice is clear?
Absolutely, absolutely sharp and clear.
Okay. As I mentioned, this I'm working with an organization called VECV, which is the VE Commercial Vehicle, we call it. It's a joint venture between the Volvo Group, which is Sweden, Volvo AB Sweden, and Eicher Motors in India. And it's a joint venture happened around 2008. Very strong collaboration going on between these two companies, and we have Volvo share is 45.6%, and rest is the Eicher Motor share, and very successful joint venture in India. And this is, you can say, both are leaders in their own ways. Volvo is known for global expertise, technical competencies, well-defined process controls, and brand image globally. And if you talk about Eicher, is known for the leadership in the light and medium duty market segment, known for frugal engineering and manufacturing. We take pride on that. And frugal doesn't mean that low quality. We talk about that we should be very frugal, very productive, and we sometimes link it to the smart manufacturing also, And we have very strong network of after sales and cost-effective operations. So that is the combination of these two companies has made a very, strong commercial vehicle player in the country. Next. Our vision is to be recognized as the industry leader driving modernization in commercial vehicle in India and developing world. And this is very important, I would say, statement here. Driving modernization in commercial vehicles means we are not looking into only the product. Our products are quite, benchmark in the industry right now, and we are taking a lot of support and cooperation with Volvo Group. And also, we are talking about processes also, because in order to produce the, modern product, then you should have a really, our plant and process should be modern. And that is why the IoT 4.0 is driving that, change for us. And we are looking towards more, and we want to lead industry in these areas. Next. Just 2-3 slides more on my, company, we are into the heavy duty trucks, and you can see that we are producing the trucks and buses. We are also into we have the division called Eicher Engineering Components. And we have the Volvo truck produced in Bangalore. Then we produce the engines. And for the group, I'm very, I feel pride, sharing that we have been producing Euro 6 compliant engine in India from 2013 onwards. India has gone to Euro 6 now, or BS6 now from 1st April this year. But in Eicher or VECV, we have been producing the BS6 compliant engines, and we are shipping to the Volvo Group from 2013. By now, we have already supplied 150,000 plus engines to Volvo Group. And these engines are called medium duty engines, and they are being run by the Volvo, Renault, UD, which is the Japanese brand UD, and Mack trucks across the globe for more than 32 or 34 countries. These engines are running successfully, and we are almost zero defect company. It's a very modern and small plant, but very modern plant, and we're producing with global standards, Euro 6. And now the entire company has transformed to the Euro 6. We have a bus body manufacturing application plant is there, which is again a unique plant. It's a greenfield plant started in 2013. And of course, the component division, we are doing a lot of component manufacturing for. So these, you can say, different business manufacturing verticals are there. And our current capacity is about 130,000 vehicles per annum. And engine, if I talk about only in this plant, powertrain plant, about 75,000 engines per annum for the Volvo group and our internal use. Bus body of 15,000 bus per annum. And of course, Eicher Engineering Components, they do a lot of work for us as well as for a lot of OEMs across the globe. Next. And this is the, you can say, high level product range. We are into the light and medium duty trucks, which is about 4.9 ton to 16 ton segment trucks. Then we have the heavy duty segment, which is ranging from 16 to 49 ton. And again, then we have the Volvo trucks coming in the heavy duty range. And then bus, we have school buses, staff bus and tourist bus. And of course, then we have got the engines, which are going to the Volvo group and our internal consumption, which is the medium duty MD5, MD8. And we also produce the non-auto segment engines like for gensets or for the earth movers and construction equipments and mining. So this is the product range at high level. As I mentioned that we are capable of producing 130,000 capacity vehicles. And let me tell you that the current plant where I'm sitting right now in Indore, in MP, this place in 84-acre land, we are producing 90,000 vehicles. So perhaps from the size and production perspective, it is perhaps maybe one of the most productive plant in the world or maybe globally. I don't know, don't have the benchmark, but certainly whatever I know a little from my background, producing almost 1,000 truck per acre land. So when we call it frugal engineering and frugal manufacturing, that is the kind of utilization of infrastructure and facility and resources we have in the plant. And that's why we produce the world-class trucks, 1 acre, 1,000 trucks, roughly. Next slide. And this is the picture reflecting our plants in India. Largely, we are in the center of India in Madhya Pradesh only right now. As you can see that our plants are situated near Indore and Bhopal. Bhopal is the capital city of India, but those people are outside. But rest of the places like our headquarters in Gurgaon and our Bangalore South, which is called VTA, Volvo Trucks India, producing the heavy duty trucks. There we have another manufacturing plant, but largely we are, if you can see the picture, some star marks are there. This brown star mark is this just because of the IoT conference I put there, and some blue and green marks are there, which is like a brown field and green field. And blue is the upcoming facility, which is under construction right now. So you can say we have a blend of units which are brown field, quite old. Like if we talk about the truck plant, left top corner, the truck plant Pithampur is the oldest plant. It started in 1984 with the Mitsubishi collaboration in the beginning, Japan Mitsubishi collaboration. And then after 2008, we had a joint venture. We have a joint venture with Volvo Group. So this very old plant, which I talked about, 84-acre land, producing 90,000 trucks from there. And in contrast, the right side blue star, this is a brand new facility under construction where I am sitting today. I'm in Bhopal today. I've just come here to review. Already the engine production we started here, Euro 6 engines, and vehicle assembly will start from August in this plant. And other plants, you can see the V powertrain on extreme left side. This is the plant we are supplying the Euro 6 engines to Volvo Group. And Volvo, you know, the quality standards, the delivery commitment, the supply chain efficiency, the parameters and the standards are so stringent that even the delivery date I have to meet the same day. If I deliver one day before, it's a negative. If I supply one day later, it's a negative. You know, our delivery precision, when we call it, it's 100% means even one day delay is not acceptable. That goes into the SAP or record official, you know, computer recording. I can't change it actually. I'm very proud to say that. Last year is about 100%. So whether it's strike or flooding or whatever happens, we have to do that. Of course, this COVID-19, we dropped down to about 70 to 80% level, which is very, very unfortunate for us. But if you see the consistency of operation in the powertrain plant, we take pride in saying that the powertrain plant is producing 8 months in a row with 0 ppm, 0 quality defect in the Volvo group, which is very, very, you know, I would say cannot happen. The accuracy of the inventory is up to 0.003% level. You know, let's say I have got a 60 crore inventory, the stock mismatch is almost 0. It is because of the IT system, the controls we have put there. But that is what we want to replicate in the Bhopal plant. We want to be the best in the, you know, country. But other plants, the challenge for me is that how to convert the brownfield other facilities to the world-class level. what I'm talking about. So that is why the IoT is going to help me in that regard, and we are taking learning from these 2-3 places, but we are also trying to innovate or upgrade these facilities. So that's a challenge. So if I see as head of operation today, I have, there are some challenges which I'm going to cover, by the way, some of more slides, but you can see that all facility infrastructures are different. Some are old, some are new. Some are with the global centers, connected. Some are locally for Indian market. How to make one common entity for the operation. The challenge for me is that driving the same processes, same culture, same thing. And we have evolved. It has evolved over past 7-8 years, 10 years. The bus plant, the powertrain plant started in 2013. And the Bhopal plant where I'm sitting today is started production this year only. And August, we are going to start production. So you can say old and new, we have to make one common entity, which is good for the organization and cost-effective plant. Next. Of course, there are challenges. I just try to capture. What is the need for the operations or manufacturing industry? In general, I'm talking quality is the focus. We are looking for the world-class quality. Our Indian customers are demanding quality, best of the best. Then we are efficiency. We need to go for a lot of productivity improvement, OE, losses reduction, real-time dashboard. We have a huge challenge in getting paper dashboard, SMS and phone calls and mails, flooding of these things from 6 operations, and all the time we are struggling. Then manpower, skill, because manpower skill is, we are sometimes saying de-skilling is skilling to the new requirement, because manpower, in these plants, we have a huge number of manpower, big number of manpower, but all are with different skills. Some are older, some are younger. And the lifespan of product is shrinking. Used to be earlier, one product you produce and you can sell it for 10 years. Today, the demand is changing. So customers are asking for new innovations, new upgrades. So training to the people with this kind of knowledge is a huge challenge. Efficiency of supply chain, Vivek, you talked about that. The supply chain disruption is frequently happening, whether it's called as COVID, whether you call it China, whether you call it earlier some strikes and dange in, near Pune belt. And then, of course, there are challenges like regulatory compliances issues. We had BS3 to BS4 3 years back. Within 3 years, government decided to go for BS4 to BS6. Nobody in the world has done the BS3 to BS6 migration 3 years. So those who are not in auto industry, they will not perhaps understand the complicacy around that. But those who are industry, they understand the challenges associated with that. Converting BS4 to BS6. This is an entire platform changing, vehicle changing, engines. So it's a regulatory norms. A lot of regulatory norms are coming for safety, regulatory norms, environmental norms. This is a challenge. Demand fluctuation, huge fluctuation in the market today. Your forecasting module is no more stable. It's like a daily basis we have to do planning. It's so dynamic. Customer pattern behavior is changing. If you recall from truck industry, used to have 2 Excel trucks. Today we have multi-Excel trucks. For every application, there's a different truck. The variety is so much, and demand is changing. Numbers are changing. Then the product lifecycle, as I said, every 1 or 2 years, you have to make changes. Today is this, tomorrow is this, and day after tomorrow is this. So we have continuously project management coming, and we have upgradation of product going on. Features are getting added. Our trucks don't have generally I'm talking about the, airbags. Even today, we don't have airbags regulation. There is cars have got the airbags. So there are a lot of active and safety features, or 100% trucks are not air conditioned truck today. But tomorrow there will be situation when all the trucks will be air conditioned, customized trucks, customized buses. Things will change very fast. And then variant management. The moment we talk about different industry, different segments, today, fruit vendor, vegetable vendor, grocery store, they're using small trucks, small commercial trucks. To the milkman, to the courier company, to the car carrier, two-wheeler carriers, or talk about the e-commerce companies, or the minings. The range is so wide in this product, and earlier used to be very limited number of products. Today, the variety has gone so high that managing the variants, the part proliferation, the spare parts management in this, and this is continuously growing. But if you keep on growing your parts or variety, but you need to have better managing these things. Ultimately, you have to service these vehicles for next 10 years, 15 years. So how you manage the business? So that's a challenge. Now IoT comes for rescue up to a large level, I guess, Of course, some of the traditional methods companies are using, which is the past wisdom, I would say, like we have to continue with those wisdom and the learnings of the past experiences and learning from our partners, industry experience. But something is future which is coming in our way, which we feel will be boosting us, helping us. But there are a lot of challenges are there. As you can see that I have captured some of those things here. Very limited domain knowledge. If I talk about the people in the industry about the IoT, then sometimes we struggle for what the challenges. I've just mentioned a couple of challenges here. The challenges are, of course, there are many more challenges are there. But who is going to provide us the optimized solutions? There are so many solution providers are there, and we keep on talking to them time again. But for all these areas, the use cases, for the scale of operation, the cost effectiveness, the optimized solution, look for that. There's a big problem. First of all, who will assess that? Because there's no benchmark easily available in the market to assess that this is the best way. Then the problem with the old and new setup is that there are a lot of machines and equipments where the existing machine interface is challenging. Of course, there are solution providers are there. They're providing sensors and instruments or devices which can link the existing machine to the IoT solution. There are solutions available, but again, it always remains a challenge. Then how to do the cost versus benefit analysis? Sometimes it's very difficult to do cost versus, because hardware cost is one thing, software cost is one thing, but the maintenance cost is another challenge. Like what is the service charges for the annual basis, or the software upgradation charges and things. So it's very difficult to sometimes to do the cost benefit analysis. Cyber security, another challenge. There are different solution providers coming to the to support us, but integrating everything into one so that we are absolutely sure of cyber security and stability. That I don't know. Sometimes we feel that some vendors may not continue the business, some may discontinue, some may not be existing. How to ensure that what solutions we are getting into the business, they remain stable for next 10 to 15 years with us. And if we take piecemeal solution for different systems, then again there's a problem that how to maintain those piecemeal basis systems and solutions, and who will integrate those things, that will remain a challenge. And then skill for digital transformation, and Vivek, you also mentioned about that change management or resistance to change, because people get used to one particular type of thing.
Right.
So it's difficult to bring people and skill set for that. Then IT infrastructure, both hardware and software I'm talking about, it's a challenge. Cloud and whether you call it RFIDs or you call it the Wi-Fi network or LAN or Bluetooth technology, and maintaining that. Then taking this thing to especially the traditional plant and old setups, as mentioned in the beginning, it remains a challenge. And service provider selection. Now, based on above points, if somebody is coming to us, there are 3-4 solution providers are there, and sometimes very difficult to judge. Somebody comes with only a soft solution, and then hardware is somewhere else. They are also like a backend integrator. They don't have their own complete setup, but they are sort of backend consortium. They're providing piecemeal basis. So there are challenges are like this, and which I have compared. This slide is made by on my our own thought that how I see the challenge with respect to my needs. How we are going to work. Next slide. Now this is the kind of if I see the solution provider strength versus challenge. I see that if I talk about the complete solution provider, naturally they are very strong, but maybe cost will be high, I guess. And we have a couple of examples, but of course we are not restricting ourselves to only cost factor. We have got some best of the best solution providers across the globe. We have systems from Rockwell Automation. We have system from SAP. There are big companies are there in our portfolio. At the same time, we have small integrators also there. But if I see the risk with the proven companies or bigger companies, the risk I feel it's lesser, because they have got the proven systems, solutions available globally, and we have use cases available. We can see that and use them. So risk is a bit low here. Small scale integrator, of course, they have some domain expert knowledge, and they have customized solution available, and they are kind of established for a couple of years. So we have lesser risk here. And but again, they are not able to provide end-to-end solutions sometimes, because they have a limited exposure in areas. and gap between the solution to the actual need at times. Startup, they may be very good, very smart, very quick, and they can, come at low cost, and they sometimes come out with the innovative and breakthrough solutions. But sometimes lack the domain expertise because they don't have the depth of domain. For example, I am a manufacturing from manufacturing industry, and what expertise we have, probably the startup may not be having those kind of age-old experience and nitty-gritty of the function or business. So there is a potential risk there, and some of the small startup may give good solution but may not be sustainable in the long run, because ever-changing technology, cost pressure, market disruption, things. So when we go for the challenges and adopting the IoT solution, these things are in our mindset, how to select a good vendor or partner, business partner for a particular solution. And there are many areas for us. So keeping those in mind, how we are evolving and what's our thought process, I'm going to cover in a couple of slides. Next. Just the same thing again, like we have the challenges, like we have the government regulation coming, which we have to, anyway, we have to follow that. There's no question not to follow that. We have to comply to all government and regulatory norms. That is mandatory. It goes without saying, whether BS3 to BS4 or BS4 to BS6, or maybe the bus code norms or the environmental regulations or the pollution control board or things, whatever is there, we have to apply that, Then the technical issues are there, like compatibility and interpolar operability within the existing system, suppliers authentication, and handling unstructured data management. A lot of time transition of the data from the old to new, migration, knowledge gap, and of course the use cases for the same technical problem. Whether do we have good examples in the industry who can give us confidence that yes, we can go for this solution because there are some use cases in the industry. The business perspective, the cost is a big pressure, like with current environment, whenever I do something, I need to do the cost benefit analysis, ROI for the business. Sometimes lack of standards not there, adding too many systems, too many software, too many tools, too many hardwares. Maybe in the long term, maintaining those in terms of the backup is challenging, and it's affecting the entire value chain. And of course, there's something like that. And then security, cyber security, privacy, information protection, and obsolete softwares, and malwares. There are issues around that. So we have our CTO and or our process IT department is there, they're taking care of that. But there are a lot of piecemeal solutions coming there. Their integration is always a challenge, and how to be making complete structured, I would say architecture or a network in the plant. Next. So based on these things to the group, I would like to mention that we struggled, and despite having some best of the best system, I can give some examples to you, and I'm going to capture in the next slide also, by the way. Like if I talk the manufacturing execution system, MEX, or like we have the EWM, some of the systems are globally known, and a lot of people in industry, they are aware of those things, or like we have a supplier portal for the powertrain plant, e-portal is there. But despite that, all these challenges, what I mentioned in my earlier slides, are still existing, and we are coming out of that step by step as we are moving forward. So what we did in VCV, we thought why not to let's take some steps, baby steps. We said let's establish our vision and goal. We have to do something on that, and we have to use this IoT in a way that it helps the organization, not just for the cosmetic or like a fashion statement, but really it's beneficial for us, and giving us organization a boost or productivity and cost measures, things like that, and quality improvement, or integration or synergy you talk about. So we created a governance structure, and is completely making sort of our we call it sometime blue sheet, or call it the governance structure. And then we started understanding where our gaps are there, our needs are there. So didn't hire any consultant for that matter. We just started looking at where we can do these projects and which are the biggest bottlenecks for us, or issues around us. And still we are evolving. As I mentioned that in the beginning, I said we are not the expert, and certainly I'm not the expert. I'm just a beginner, and but we are making a way. So we just thought of let us capture our own issues and do some gap assessment. Then around those issues and around those problems, which are the right solution available. We are in touch with some of the vendors, some of the suppliers, some of the solution providers, some of the integrators in the market. A lot of connections are there through LinkedIn or other forums. So we call them and discuss with them, and case to case basis, taking it forward and doing piloting. And we are continuously generating awareness in the organization. And in manufacturing operations, I've got my team of 5 plants. All people, leadership is sit together. We have a dedicated forum. We have a structured reviews. We talk and openly discuss the ideas, the thought process. So what we do, we are trying to connect people and across the plants through whatever connectivity systems we have. We are collecting the information, knowledge, issues, gaps, data, and trying to understand, comprehend what is happening around that. Whether data is giving us some information to us, whether rejection train, whether it's the energy bills, or whether it's talk about quality issues, whether logistics delays, and trying to visualize these data into some sort of alert and graphs and charts so that we can take it to digital side. Further continuously analyzing through software, using some of these small scale solutions, sometimes bigger solutions also, and then continuously doing automate and make it to the IoT devices connectivity. So that is how our approach has been on the IoT side. This is what just a thought process we have captured here. Next slide. And this is what actually now coming back to the plant. Now this is a core what we are doing. So when I see IoT Industry 4.0, so we have like safety, we have hazard, or we have unsafe condition, and COVID-19 social distancing application, things like, we have the quality side. We talk about demerit, defect detection system, or process verification. There are several areas within quality, and quality is I would say, basic hygiene these days. I think you don't produce quality, then customer is not going to accept it. Your viability, your sustainability is on quality, is the paramount importance, Then cost, with this current environment, competitive environment, cost has got a huge pressure. They're controlling the variable cost, the overheads, the maintenance costs, repairs and maintenance costs. Of course, the productivity, where the manpower utilization, the productivity, OEE of the machines and shop floor and the people, strong focus. Energy environment, as I mentioned, we have to be environment friendly. We should be looking into the energy. We should be saving power, energy. I'm sorry, there was a disturbance, so I just closed the door. And then there are regulatory norms are coming from environmental perspective, and we want to be really a good corporate citizen, where we follow all the regulations and also respect earth, water, and air. So we have to work a lot on that. And by the way, power, LNG, or energy is the highest cost for us. So there's a huge opportunity using IoT, both from the regulation perspective as well as the cost perspective. Of course, material availability, when you say logistics, supply chain, huge disruption happening. And both because of the, I would say, technology disruption, and we are talking about electric vehicle, we are talking about BS6, we are talking about connected vehicles. So there are a lot of things are happening, and scheduling with suppliers and the proliferation going on the part side, managing the supply chain real time, variety management, and of course then warehouse management for both our for the vehicle manufacturing or engine manufacturing, but at the same time the part distribution networks across India for the aftermarket service. So there's a huge big area, and logistics is also a very big area from cost perspective, efficiency and cost perspective. So the truck turnaround time and the delivery time, and we call it sometimes short lead time, reducing end-to-end planning. We say in some time our parlance, we also call it short lead time, and also we measure it through OTD, order to delivery. Our terminology is that OTD, when the customer orders a vehicle or engine to us, and when we are delivering to him, so we measure the OTD. So that's an area for this thing. And skill mapping, people side is very important. Continuous skill mapping, critical process deployment, on-job training, competency building, both at workers and for the management or the supervisory staff. So what we did, we started identifying the projects or areas where we have problem. We identified so far about 205 small, medium, and mini project or major projects. And good to share that about 54 implemented and 151 in the pipeline. But there are different plants, so I'm not going to the statistics right now, but I'm just giving kind of sort of what we are doing here. Next. And this is the team structure. We saw a blue sheet. We have the vision and mission. We have got the purpose. We have got the deliverable key milestone, then interface between different departments, the agenda, what should be agenda, who should be the participant, team members, steering committee, and what is the governance. This is a structure sheet we make. So we have a IoT team working background, and we have a champion called Gautam, and he's leading our team. So we have a kind of sort of structured program is going on around that. This is our own thought process. At least make a beginning and start looking into this area, you know. So just a glimpse here I'm showing you. Next slide. And these are things all people in the industry know about: the sensors, about cybersecurity, virtual manufacturing, data science, all these things are. So somewhere or other we are using in our facilities all 5 plants put together. But what I mentioned here, all are in place right now. As I mentioned, some of them are coming to larger vendors or service providers or partners. Some are to small vendors, but we are using all these things right now and trying to put in cloud so that we have a good traceability and central, you know, this thing. So this is happening right now in our IoT system. Next. And there are some example use cases. So I'm going to share, 3-4 examples, and I'll leave it here for the discussion, because I think largely I will cover the, our challenges and what the need is there, and at the same time, what is our thought process and our approach has been so far. And a couple of side example, this is MEX. People know across the globe that this is good for the manufacturing execution, traceability of the processes, genealogy, and critical process control. A lot of things are there. There's a lot of quality improvement. Then similarly, we are doing a lot of good things in the paint shop. This is all done in-house, by the way. Some of things are done by in-house. The first one is done by the Rockwell Automation and like SAP we have got, but the second part you're seeing is a completely in-house. The people have developed local solutions there where painting process is controlled, and you can get the mobile alert today. Before the breakdowns or failure happens, we get the mobile alert. This is in cloud right now, and this is local in-house by our maintenance people, and we get good benefit in terms of the breakdowns and cost. So we have zero lost time in the paint shop right now because of this innovation paint shop. They track the I would say voltage and current for the CD painting process, vehicle painting process, and there is zero breakdown past 8 to 9 months, absolutely. So good cost saving and good productivity for us. Next slide. This example, we are putting a lot of dashboarding in the quality and things. Now this is all available in the mobile. It's very difficult for me to integrate 5 plants put together and getting SMS and mails. So rather we are putting internally developing the local dashboarding, all the key areas. I get the dashboard report on my mobile and I can connect to anybody, any point of time. This again developed by in-house people, and we have real-time tracking of the delivery, production, quality, and things like that. EWM is the enterprise warehouse management system, which is the provided by SAP. It is really good, and our powertrain plant has got great accuracy. As I mentioned, past 3 years, our inventory accuracy is close to about the gap, variance in these stocking norms, annual basis, annual inventory. There's hardly any, is a 0.005%, 0.003%. So like 100% this thing. And this we have implemented in our spare part distribution system right now this year. Earlier it was in the powertrain plant. Now we have deployed in the second spare part house. So this is, again, we are learning this thing to the second plant, but we want to do it across all plants. Next. Similarly, on the productivity side, we have mapped all our weld shop and paint shop equipments with the QR codes, and with the QR codes, all the maintenance processes and procedure for doing the preventive maintenance and the maintenance or the spare parts maintenance. We have been able to reduce about 20% breakdown time in these shops after implementing some of these systems. Productivity side, we are monitoring old machine shop, a lot of old machines, 15 years old machine, 20 years old machines, but we have put a lot of sensors there right now with the help of some local solution providers and with our IoT team. And we started measuring, and I think there is a good improvement. 15% machine uptime improved. We have done that, and breakdowns have reduced drastically. And of course, this is leading to spare part consumption reduction, which we are not able to measure that because it happened only last year, a couple of things, and we are just monitoring right now what is the consumption on the spare parts because of these improvements. I'm sure we'll have good saving going forward. Next. Again, some example of productivity and cost. And VPS is we call it the Volvo production system. There's nothing but lean manufacturing system, which is some people call it Toyota production system. And we call it the Volvo production system, which is a backbone for us, where we measure all the key KPIs for operations like safety, quality, delivery, cost, and environment. So all these things, SQDCM, or some people call it SPQRC, whatever way we said. Operations means we have to be cost-effective operation. It has to be safe operation. It has to be quality, producing at station, built-in quality, the short lead time for the material supply chain, the inventory management, and then productivity of people and engagement of the people. So all those things are coming through VPS monitoring system. Next. And on safety side, like all the fire equipments have been put, the sensors are there. They're providing alert in mobile and SMS, like our fire hydrant system, which is for the fire protection. We have a hydrant system where the 100,000 water is stored there, and there are a lot of gauges and pressure gauges and valves are there. So today I get alarm in case of anything fails in the fire system, fire protection system. The alarm goes to the maintenance and safety team, and to the key people on mobile and SMS alerts. Earlier it was not there. Earlier somebody is to go physically check everything and put a record and send SMS. Today it happens automatically. Similarly, energy environment dashboard we have created, which is again beginning. And when we say saving, I would say we are saving, and there's a good CO2 reduction, or let's say carbon rating, we are generating on that. Next. And of course, the pick to light, this is a known system for everybody, that part selection, kitting areas. So we have got a lot of pick to light selection. Wrong supply is stopped, and is not people dependent. It is now the IT dependent, and it's all electronic and Wi-Fi enabled environment. So the kitting area and the part supply to the line goes in a very, very efficient way. Right from the production planning to the line side supply happens in many, but this is not across the plant. There are pockets where we have done that, experimented, and very successful. And then Web EDI, we are talking about a global portal for Volvo plant. We are just, we have global suppliers about, there are many suppliers from global, we are connected to across Europe and China and US, and we have connectivity, visibility. Our forecast is released directly in the web, and through web portal, we get the supplier delivery schedules, and we ensure that they are coming. And again, here we map the delivery accuracy from supplier, forecast accuracy. But again, this is not all the plants. Some of the plants are very good, but other plants, we are looking for solutions, and we're looking for cost optimized solutions. So that's what we are doing. And here, when we say Web EDI is only for right now supplier portal, but there are a lot of other areas are there. We are dispatching vehicles to all over India, to our customers, to dealers. Very difficult to track these vehicles on the road. With telematics coming, probably we will be able to do that, but there's a big challenge because driver community is not so, I would say, structured in India, and there is a lot of problems, vehicle on the road. And similarly for the spare part distribution network across India, supplying material in real time, quick time, reducing the OTD, order to delivery, is challenge. Next slide. And some other examples, like, with safety, we have done zero lost man day cases for many months for many plants, and paint shop especially, and other areas. The quality improvement, a lot of pride in saying we have a 0 ppm company for the medium duty engine, but we have to do the same thing for all the plants. A lot of cost saving in the spare side, because we have done a lot of IoT in the things. Oil improvement we have done in the powertrain plant, and we are now spreading to other plants also. Environment, 800 ton of CO2 reduced by one plant only. Right now we are talking about the main plant, which is very old plant, by the way, started in 1984. So environmental side, we are helping the government and society in large. Energy saving, we are continuously saving. When I say 2.8 MINR is a million Indian rupees, by the way, some people may say very small amount, some may say very high amount. I don't know, it's a scale, but we have made the beginning actually. When I say 12 crore saving, or 2.8 crore, or 2.828 MINR are wanted. So this is like I give some example here. Logistics supply chain, EWM, the plant has got 99% accuracy. This is for the plant for warehouse. I'm talking about competency. We are tracking the skill of the people, and we want to be the best in the lean system. So we are looking for at least silver to gold now going forward. Next. So that's all from my side. I think I just tried to capture in, I don't know, I took a little longer than expected, Vivek, perhaps, but it was difficult to comprehend in just, for all 5-6 plant, our approach with respect to the challenges. So that's all from my side for today.
That's wonderful. In fact, Aditya, it just revived my experience in the manufacturing industry when I think 15 years or 18 years back, I'd done a training in Eicher tractor plant in Faridabad. So, and of course, in also Ambassador factory, very much earlier, Contessa factory in Calcutta, actually. And I know the industry has gone way beyond, right? It has really changed the way you all have implemented the synergies. And of course, I see so much of disparate systems out there, right? Where in pockets, the solutions have been resolved. And I really agree that, from the startups to the big players to the larger players, you can have different sorts of solutions, but comes along with a lot of flexibilities, risks, and the integration factor, right?
Yeah.
So without spending too much of time and conscious of time as well, I want to interconnect this topic because I have been seeing all through, and just a glance on where I come from. I come from a hardcore data science background, right? And I see every implementation, whether it is an IT system or any new advanced technologies, as a data point, right? And the immediate thing which was clicking in my mind as I was seeing through the slides out there is how is the data interconnected, right? Though we have bits and pieces of problem resolved, right? Whether it is supply chain availability, OTD, you have VPS system, you have power, energy, and water optimizations to happen, right? How do you see things in holistic fashion? How do you see things in a totality, right? You as a senior vice president of the organization, imagine that you have the whole control tower inside your cabin, right?
Yeah.
And you step out only for a very, very crucial aspect.
Yeah.
And we were talking about IT, OT integration, me and Ravi, some time back. We'll not bring in that topic right now because we'll spend another 2 hours in that. But we are talking with a lot of telecommunication players and network equipment operators. And of course, Sandra also comes from a bit of that background as well. We'll talk about it. How the plants can interconnect, right? You as overall plant head operations, can you have a network operations center, plant operations center? I'm not saying it as POC, but it's a plant operations center in front of your eyes, and there's a trigger point somewhere, right? So with that, what I will do is I will let Ravi take the baton in his hand and talk about these interconnecting points, right? Ravi, you have been veteran in this industry in terms of on the agenda NASCOM and AI has been talking, right? How do we interconnect? Now I see this is a place where whether there is a retrofitted plant or there is a brand new plant or there is a plant in between, a brownfield plant, right? You as a provider, right, have to provide a thought leadership around how the integration will interplay, having worked with so many integration consultants nationwide, right? So over to you, Ravi.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but Vivek here, I would like to put in the question, one of the polling questions to the audience.
Right.
They can have kind of their ideas and thoughts on what they think. Mr. Agarwal, we'll just go back to you on that in another 2 minutes.
Sure. What is that, Shani? Is it like a question?
Yeah, we have identified some questions that we would be looking at the audience for the answers. Like, I'm just launching the polling.
All right. Okay, you're launching the polling.
Yeah. So requesting you all to kindly go through the question being, which one of the industry functions will be your immediate focus? Is it sourcing or procurement, production planning and scheduling, supply chain planning, core manufacturing, logistics and distribution, sales and services? Please go ahead and vote. It's a multiple choice question, but would request you to kind of prioritize, starting with the immediate focus area.
spend another 15 minutes. We have a full house here. I see 98% of the participants who have registered have joined.
I believe the attendees can see all of the questions. The second one being which one of the emerging technologies is your top priority? The third being what solution do you plan to adopt in the near term to maximize operational effectiveness? The fourth being if you prefer working with an external agency such as NASSCOM, what path would you like to undertake and how quickly would you want us to support you? Last but not the least, apologies for the very direct question, but we would like to know your interest in the area of how much, if so, you've budgeted for the digital adoption. I'll give it another 2 minutes. Please go ahead and answer.
Shani, those questions are slated for later on, right?
Yes, but it's visible in the immediate. The entire polling is visible for them.
Because we are losing some time there. So let's do it for another 15-20 seconds.
Yeah. Just to add on, we'll be taking all the questions. The questions will be taken at the end, but we request you to kindly type in your questions in the question answer and the chat. We will also be connecting post-webinar one-to-one wherever and whenever required for any kind of support that you would be seeking of us.
Let's move on, Shani.
Sure. I'll end the polling now and I hand over to you, Mr. Agarwal. Please go ahead. I've made you the co-host. You can present your slides.
Thank you, Shani. Thank you, Vivek. In fact, I'm so exhilarated that Aditya ji has, in fact, made our work so simple. In fact, I must compliment Volvo Eicher and Aditya ji and his teams of having such a 360-degree approach into how the instruments of IoT can be deployed for an enterprise success. Because the last slide of yours says it all. That whether it's safety, whether it's compliance, whether it's improvement in environmental issues, or whether it's energy conservation, quality, throughput, you say it all. In fact, that's what I say. You have made our life so easy, and my very sincere compliments. Volvo Eicher, as I see, is one of the role models now of how a big enterprise and assembly plant can actually take the lead and show that Industry 4, Samarth Udyog, IIoT is for real. And Aditya ji, so much thanks to you that you have said it's not the end that somebody wants to do I4 and IIoT is a journey. It's a journey towards a successful enterprise. And in this journey, how we derive our fruits. In fact, Ishani, if I can request you to put my presentation on board, I'll try to very quickly take through some of the thought process. In fact, if not, then I'll...
Sure. I'll go ahead and do that.
All right.
Thank you, Raviji.
I mean, it's showing the way. And if the big assembly plants, the economies of scale, there's a big mental block and there's a big financial block in terms of adoption of technologies. Let me not call it I 4.0, but enterprises like Volvo iShare can actually show the way. And I'm pretty sure that it cannot be a case in isolation, because what you are doing at your level actually then boils down the line into each and every supplier and tier 2, 3, 4 down the line. Because if you are operating like that, it cross-pollinates and pushes everybody to operate. And what I would like to share on a very quick note is India is a very big country and it's full of diversity. And so much as the economies of scale, big enterprises, very well connected plans and people, and the muscle strength which people like Volvo, iShare and likes of it have, let us also expand it to the whole ecosystem where 2, 3, 4 tier suppliers and non-automotive enterprises also come in. And I very quickly again touch the point, let digitization, digitalization and Industry 4.0 be the journey towards a successful enterprise. And whenever we are operating an enterprise, Aditya ji, nobody knows better than you, it is the right information at the right time. If it's visible, rest all is done. In attempting a question paper, a student, understanding the question is 50% of the solution. So if in our enterprises, we are able to define the challenges and problems, then instruments like IIoT are the ways and means of mitigating those challenges and problems. I'll just, for an analogy, say, if enterprise is our buggy, then digitization are the wheels, because every vertical that Volvo iShare has put in is actually an enterprise by itself. And then the challenge is, how does one vertical talk to the other? And therein the need for digitization and a commonality of language arises. Because there does a hindrance in the legacy and the modern plans, or within the vertical sections of the plant, this very well understandable challenge of communication of the data and challenges. So let digitalization be the horse which is actually put before the cart. As Aditya ji, you very rightly said, let it not be for a fashion, but for the success of the enterprise. Yeah. In fact, Ishani, if I can go to my second and quickly the third slide due to paucity of time, me and Aditya ji have not been in communication on what do we present and talk, but you would see that whether it's production or supply chain, the commonality of the topic is already there. So enterprise and its problems remain genuinely democratic and throughout, whereas if you see the right triangle, and herein I would like to pitch in the core part of what I would like to say. In fact, in a big and diverse country like India, challenge is always skills, cost, so on and so forth. Now, I must share, in Industry 4.0, when we started with pneumatics and hydraulics, the entire industrialized world gave us 40, 50, 60 years of development and expertise and proven solutions to work our factories on. We had rather proven solutions and proven apparatus to implement those solutions. When you come to electronics and logic controllers and dashboards and HMIs and all, again, 2 to 3 decades of product proving, elimination of problems, optimization, cost reduction for us to adopt. But when we talk of the latest industrial revolution, which is an information-driven enterprise, things are co-developing. So the challenge here remains that an enterprise in India which will adopt this technology has to also bear the cost of evolution, which was not there erstwhile. And again, is it a challenge or is it a boon? As a country, India, I would just like to pitch in one thing. And touch the key point which me and Vivek were trying to make. I mean, the demography dividend in India from medical sciences. Our doctors, diagnostically, not clinically, are among the best in the world. You know why? Because the number of cases an average medical practitioner is seeing in India and the diversity of it is very high. I'll put the analogy to our engineering world of Industry 4.0 with such a diverse spectrum of industries, solutions, people who are ready to solve those challenges, and the number of challenges depending on the economy of scales and intricacy of the technology is so big that I see, rather than a challenge, a very, very fertile ground to meet the domestic challenges in implementation. Let's not call it Industry 4.0 to begin with. Let's call it a connected enterprise in which we have information-driven operation. Having said that, Aditya ji, you are deploying local integrators. You have developed local teams. And in fact, if you see this right-hand triangle, I'm saying automation and then communication and then analytics. In fact, analytics is the key part where all industries are facing challenge. Today, legacy machines can be connected. Modern and legacy machines to a certain extent can communicate. The data, as Vivekji is saying, from IT perspective can also be dashboarded. So what we are trying to say is one size may not fit all, but the market, the services, the populace, and more importantly, the industry is very ripe, wherein we are ground swelling a breed of integrators. In fact, people who are developing IT systems are coming in close proximity with machines and data and similar back and forth. So I would say, Aditya ji, you are leading the show, and it's a very big plus sign. And a lot of integration, solution provision, and co-evolution, co-development platform exists with companies like Aisha and NASSCOM and AIA together to lead the rest of the populace and the industry segment in India. Paucity of time, allow me not to go into details. Over to you, Vivek. I believe that as Aisha Volvo is projecting right breed of IT/OT people and coming forth, taking one step at a time. In fact, Aisha Volvo is showing that there is a blueprint, and in fact, a blueprint of digitization and enterprise success must be there as we participate and take this one step at a time to come to from a organized bigger economies of scale like Volvo to service providers, integrators, and component providers to make the whole ecosystem a tad better. Over to you, Vivek.
Great. Thanks a lot, Ravi. I think you have holistically summarized the whole integration piece, right? And I see this slide. Ishani, just keep it here. I think this is a very good slide to kind of see through from a single lens, right? It's we could call it as a fisheye lens, right? Where normal lens would have just a 2D view, and a fisheye lens will have a 3D view or a 360-degree view, right? And I think this is what we want to evangelize, Aditya, as we are, as Automation Industry Association and NASSCOM is already in the verge of signing the MOU. It's like our signature is remaining only, right, on that. And rightly said, data is the critical point. So if you are not able to, so whether it is a large service provider, whether it is a startup, whether it is a mid-service provider, whether it is an application ERP provider, whether it is an emerging technology, what probably I didn't see within the gamut of solution of Volvo, maybe it's already there, is the kind of AR/VR, usage of AR/VR for maintenance, right? That's another thing which is maybe that's the only thing we didn't see there, and it is already there, right? But all these disparate systems, right? The data is the key, right? I don't know, there is a noise around data, there is a signal around the data, there's an information around data. And then lastly, there's an analytics around data, which has, Gartner calls it a two-prong approach, right? Which you can consume it through a decision making. So it is for your decision making. You see the analytics and you make a decision, or do a decision automation, right? Where you know that, for example, there is a trigger, the machine is getting heated up. Your whole big machinery is an asset to you, right? You would not do a preventive maintenance. You want to do a condition-based maintenance, right? And that should trigger you that at this point in time, the efficiency of the machine is going down. You better switch to the plan B and shut this machine off for the maintenance, right? So with that perspective, we want to kind of go into another key area, right? So of course, in such a short span of time, we cannot cater to all the challenges. I will keep on coming back and back to integration and data, because data is my favorite field, right? And data intelligence, and you can talk to me anything about data in terms of advanced analytics or data science, right? Or data engineering. I will shift gears and I will put the baton to Kush's hands, who from his Senra's perspective, so Ali Hussain, who's the CEO of Senra, is a very, very good friend of mine. I keep on meeting him. And of course, that does not mean Kush is not a big friend of mine. He is absolutely similarly a very good friend of mine. They have a very wholesome solution which they have been implementing around supply chain track and trace, right? And which is kind of one of your key needs and challenges as well, Aditya. So I will let Kush present that, followed by Swati. Swati comes from a startup setup, more than startup, right? She has got another very, very important solution to map in there, right? So it's like a jigsaw, right? We are trying to complete the jigsaw out there. So these are the two points we will cover, and then we will, of course, try to take questions. There are a lot of people who are asking very, very valid questions, and some of them are so intelligent questions that I cannot answer. So I will hand it over to one of you. Over to you, Kush.
Yeah, thank you, Vivek, for the introduction, and thank you, Ravi sir and Aditya sir, for the beautiful insights. It's very heartening to see industry leaders talking about IoT in such a good light. Yeah, and also talking about the data. From our perspective, I've had most of my background in IoT and embedded systems. And yeah, coming from that perspective, maybe I could throw some more light on how do we see the challenges getting solved for automotive industry as well as industrial IoT in general. Ishani, if you could just help me starting the slides. So I'll not be kind of running through the usual numbers, which the slide deck has in the beginning. So Ishani, if you could skip for me 3 slides.
Sure, I'll do that.
All right. Yeah, I mean, everyone knows industrial IoT is probably the second largest contributor to the global IoT markets. We have been seeing most of our current device volumes in India coming from smart cities, which is specifically more utilities, metering, those kind of use cases. But yes, industrial IoT in bits and pieces is coming up. And when I talk about industrial IoT, I think the biggest pie of the puzzle in industrial IoT is the automotive sector. And yeah, so gathering from the slides from Aditya ji, a lot of this has to do with how do you solve problems for traditional plants and plants which have been in existence for very long without disturbing any of the existing establishments, without having any downtimes on your machinery. And we have been able to kind of try to address that market segment as one of our target verticals. So as you see on the slide here, it's kind of a very growing market, a big CAGR. This was pre-COVID times, so obviously the 7.3% is probably going to get affected now. But still, I do see other IoT use cases coming after COVID, which were not previously been thought about, and yeah, possibly could be solved using IoT itself. Next slide, please. The next slide again. Okay. Yeah. So for India specifically, we are seeing in this year, and this also comes from very close personal experiences through Senra. The industrial manufacturing sector is expected to contribute almost 18% to the IoT market share. So like I said earlier, the first and foremost volumes for IoT for us has been coming from smart cities, and possibly the second biggest segment is through industrial IoT. Ishani, next slide, please. Yeah, so when we speak about industrial IoT, we are talking about several things, right? It's a wide gamut of technologies out there. We are mainly seeing the biggest chunk of our opportunities coming from improving operational efficiencies. What that includes for us, at least, is how do you sense your logistics moving inside and outside of a warehouse? How are you handling your spare parts? How are you handling your inventory? What do you see as the real time benefits of moving the inventory? How do you pre-assess any outages of inventory of spare parts? And how do you pre-assess the logistics time intervals? So how do you bring up about more efficiency in your daily operational activities? Apart from that, we have been also working with retrofit kind of solutions which go on to IoT, which go on to existing machinery in brownfield projects. As well as we are trying to introduce new concepts to the whole industrial IoT scenario. We're trying to look at more innovative approaches that are targeted towards Indian manufacturing practices, which are probably somewhat solved in the global scenario. Yeah, Ishani, next slide. Okay. I'll tell you a bit about what LoRaWAN is. So for a long time, the IoT industry, especially in the industries, has seen the wireless networks, which were initially targeted to be for consumer purposes. When we speak about Bluetooth, when we speak about Wi-Fi, when we speak about CDMA or GSM networks, these are traditionally kind of technologies that have been catering to more consumer side applications. And the whole objective of developing a technology, an RF technology or a IoT technology that is catered towards IoT in specific, and not towards consumer IoT, or not force fitting RF technologies from consumer domain into industrial IoT. That has been one of the bigger benchmarks of successes of industrial IoT for us. LoRaWAN inherently is a very suitable technology when you want to talk about massive smart city application as well as industrial IoT in specific. In terms of it being resistant to the noise that you have, that's a big problem in existing brownfield industry segments. So we see, LoRaWAN being able to bring about two unique factors. One is the long range. So for example, to cover an entire warehouse campus of 8 acres or 10 acres, or to cover an entire Volvo Eicher factory, let's say, of several acre land, you want to be able to deploy a network that is able to cover the whole campus infrastructure, be it from a point of view of tracking your manpower, your inventories, your assets, or even your machines transmitting data every few minutes, every few seconds. So LoRaWAN offers you that distinct advantage. You do not have to have Wi-Fi hotspots every 200 meters. Now, LoRaWAN is catering to noise-resistant wide area deployment. The next thing you talk about is low cost. So low cost meaning the total cost of ownership for an end consumer, right? When you're talking about deploying an IoT network, probably the network itself would be a massive cost. if you don't even take into account, individual machine IoT device that goes on the individual machine. So yeah, LoRaWAN has been able to bring about very long battery life, very low cost of ownership, and very wide area coverages. So talking about a holistic IoT solution, that's where the technology fits in. Next slide, please. And we've had a very tremendous LoRaWAN growth ecosystem in India till now. The technology itself is almost about 10 years old. In India, Senra and Tata Communications are the two major LoRaWAN network operators which are doing pan-city coverages. Right now, we are present at about 70 cities across India with our LoRaWAN network deployments. And I think a similar number with Tata as well. And when you see at different segments of this whole IoT ecosystem, you're looking at solution providers, manufacturers, we're looking at institutes like we have one of our good customers with VIT, with IIT Bombay, with Triple IT Hyderabad. We have use cases running from agriculture to industrial. We have large utility companies like Itrons of the world, Honeywell. Unfortunately, Volvo I share not yet here, but yeah, so a lot of good big companies trying to become part of the LoRaWAN ecosystem and have joined the LoRa Alliance now, of which we are also a contributor level member. And we have specifically integrated a security piece here, which is also very important and something a lot of even good startups in India ignore when they're talking about preparing devices for industrial IoT. So we've had all these companies, and in fact, yeah, one big segment is also the certification. So we have been very successful in bringing three big certification houses to India: DECRA, TUV, 7 Layers, and they are now doing LoRaWAN certifications for our modules for our devices in India, and that gives the customer, big boost of confidence. Yeah. So next slide, please.
Yeah, Kush, sorry to interrupt, but I'd be very grateful if you can kind of come to the use case that you want to talk about, considering that we have a little bit of time constraint and we want to take the questions at the end as well.
Absolutely. I'll do that. So in India, like I mentioned already, we have the 70 devices, 70 cities coverage already. You can move to the next slide. Yeah, so when we speak about IoT, we are basically talking about a lot of things. We're talking about warehouses, we're talking about logistics, third-party trucks, machineries, forklifts. We are talking about the conveyor belts. We are talking about the machineries, pick and place, those kind of equipment. I'll briefly touch upon one use case, although we have had several solutions for different kind of verticals inside industrial IoT. I'll just briefly touch upon one use case which has to do with warehouse and logistics. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah, so the use case in general was targeted at a large warehouse campus. So it was an 8-acre land. The customer wanted to monitor all their people in that warehouse, all their assets, the vehicles which were going in and out of the warehouses, and they wanted to know a general throughput of the amount of assets that are coming in the warehouses and leaving the warehouses on the docking process as well as the loading process, and what happens when something is unannounced. When a forklift just comes in, and they have about 18 warehouses in this one campus. It's an 8-acre campus, and they have about 18 warehouses in this one campus. And they have all these equipment and all these forklifts, trucks, loading, unloading, people as well as inventory going in and out of all of these warehouses. If you can switch to the next slide, Ishani. So it's a brownfield campus, and one of the biggest problems with brownfield campuses is you do not want to touch anything. You do not want to break anything, right? You do not want to dig a LAN cable, optical fiber throughout the campus. You do not want to touch the existing RFID setups in these areas. And it's a massive area. It's almost 8 hectares of land. So how do you cover the whole campus, and how do you manage all your inventory assets, your people, your forklifts going in and out? Next slide, please. So what we did was we came up with a way of and this actually won an award in the IoT show that happened last year for innovation. So what we came up about with was a way to kind of convert the existing RFID setup that the customer had already deployed, uh, and then backhauling all that RFID tag information to the central servers. So the decision makers would not definitely be happy with setting up remote. In India, you call them gumtis, or you call them small sheds where these operators are sitting with their remote computers, and they're putting LAN cables to their RFID readers. So what we were able to accomplish was we deployed a LoRaWAN network which was spanning the entire 8 or 10 hectare campus, and we developed a unique RFID to LoRaWAN conversion device that actually could be retrofitted on their existing RFID readers. So the readers had a RS-232 port, and the device actually is a very simple transparent device which converts the RS-232 information, that the tag information coming on the RS-232 ports, and just transmit it over LoRaWAN over a very long distance. With just this, we were now able to get information from throughout the campus on a central network server, and from there the data is transmitted to an application server, which is a dashboard essentially. And not only this, we were also able to do a bidirectional communication. So any kind of estimated time of arrival for forklifts or inventory was being displayed on television sets in all the warehouses. So any truck going from warehouse A to warehouse B to warehouse C to the 18th warehouse, you have an estimated time of arrival for all the trucks. And because of that, now people who were taking retro actions when the truck used to arrive were now preparing their docking equipment and inventory in advance, knowing that, okay, the truck is just 10 minutes away. So let me go back and bring up all my loading equipment, bring up all my inventory. And then when the truck arrives, you have that sitting there, and then you can straight away start loading the process. If you could move to the next slide. So this was one of our initial prototypes when we were just starting this process of innovation. And pretty straightforward, we were able to, and this came in from the customer, who's one of the largest MNCs in India, that we were able to reduce the loading and unloading time by 50%. So earlier it was taking them almost 30 to 40 minutes to prepare the inventory which has to be loaded on a forklift when it arrives. Now they are doing it in half of that time. So a clear indicator, a simple solution which solved the customer problem for us. Then if you could switch the slide, we also developed a few other solutions which could enhance the user experience, especially in this COVID era, where we are actually now doing non-contact tracing of people as well as assets. So when people are trying to come into, they're trying to log into their daily systems when they're operating with half the manpower, we are automatically swiping them. We are also automatically swiping the equipment that is sitting in huge junkyards, which have RFID tags on the important equipment, and we are automatically swiping all of this information. So that single device is now combined with attendance management system, with junkyard, tracking of essential equipment which are going out of the junkyard. So a lot of these practices are now done. Ishan, if you could switch the slide. So yeah, all this is now real time. All this has now reduced. It's now helped us to kind of reduce downtimes, to locate employees in real time. So we do not intend to micromanage, but it's also important for the workers' safety purpose to know where they are, in which section they have to work, in which sections they should not be allowed, as well as knowing if you are now operating at 30% manpower or 50% manpower.
So conscious of time, Kush, we will switch quickly. Of course, there are.
So I'm kind of done, Vivek, from my side of slides. Ishani, you could stop the slide deck and we could take up questions.
Sure. Yeah, of course, we'll take the question the last. But I think that's a good one. I think that's where I saw Aditya also alluding to when he was pushing his slides. Whether it's an inbound supply chain, an outbound supply chain, or workplace compliance in the current COVID times, right? And I think I have been speaking to a lot of telecom operators, telecom, your equipment manufacturers, right? And also the CSPs, the communication service providers towards IT/OT integration. Right now, LoRaWAN kind of a network, whatever it costs, right, which comes out very handy in terms of a realistic solution than really thinking about bringing 5G, which is going to come years from now, right? So with that, I think we should switch to Swati quickly. And I know Swati has a lot to say, but in a concise manner, Swati, if you can run through more from the application perspective, you've seen what challenges Aditya is facing and what opportunities it is bringing, right? And I'm sure your solution has been working a lot. I have personally seen that, but we will see its applicability around an automotive industry like Volvo, not to limit it to Volvo.
Sure.
Go ahead, sir.
Ishani, should you?
Sure. Yeah, I'll
You'll be able to do it. Okay. So, hi everybody. I am Swati, and I would like to now talk of a very different type of analytics which may help the companies, especially in the new normal which we have been talking around. And most of the solutions are simple and can be very easily adaptable based on the requirement of the manufacturing companies as well as large projects, even during the operation level or during the construction of the factories and other activities. Next slide, please. So we have been talking on the usage of computer vision, that is on the images and the videos, the analytics of the images and the videos coming out of the a very different type of data, that is the CCTV data or the image data from any other sources. So when we are talking of a new normal, we have to think of the contactless entries within the companies so that the people can enter fearlessly without any contact to their offices, factories, premises. So the first solution which we are offering is mainly on the contactless entry with the facial recognition done by the CCTV camera and the AI algorithms. So we basically have worked our AI on the existing cameras of the companies. There's no need of any capex infusion for the hardware by the companies. The existing cameras can be utilized for different purposes. The first purpose which I am showcasing is the biometric, the CCTV based attendance and totally eliminating the fingerprint biometrics from the factories. So as the people walk in, the attendance is registered. So there is no queuing of the machine. The solutions are on premise of the manufacturers, and one single algorithm can be deployed for multiple cameras. There can be multiple exit and entry gates. It can be deployed for all different cameras. One single algorithm is enough. Next slide. So some of the results which I am showing, this is a POC which is going on in a very large public sector company. This is the entry gate. The attendances are registered from a distance of more than 5 to 7 meters, depending on how good your camera resolution is. So very simple. The person is recognized based on certain face banks, and immediately the entry is registered. The second product, Ishan is slightly slow, is again on the, next slide, you can say. So here we have been using again the same CCTVs for the purpose of detection of violation of social distancing. This is also necessary because people or the safety officers cannot be everywhere. but the CCTVs are always there in any manufacturing plants. So the whole idea is to measure a safe distance of 6 feet between the different persons. So when we talk of you can see the red boxes, the people are having an unsafe distances with respect to each other, while the person who will be in a green box will always be in a safe thing. So a distance of the person, each person is measured with respect to any other person available in that particular area. Again, the same CCTV which are existing in the manufacturing units can be easily deployed. Next, please. So you can see this is a POC again in an automotive factory, basically who are manufacturing cars. So this was done during the lockdown time only. You can see the people who is in the person who is in the green box is a safe compared to the persons who have been walking ahead who are in the red box. So there is a distance measurement between the people, each person with respect to other, to know whether there is a violation or not. And in the first image, you can see a person who is not wearing a helmet and not wearing a mask is being highlighted. So all these solutions are totally on the real-time basis, whether it is face or the social distancing or mask violation. Now coming back to the process side, it is very simple. The CCTV the feeds are basically processed by the AI algorithm either on the client server or on cloud, and it gives a result. It is real-time basis within um, based on how good is your server. The result will be immediately registered within a second or two. Next slide. Some of the key requirements in case of contactless entry, we have to create face bank of each employee. Face bank means a 30-second video of each employee in a particular manner. Then in that case, they should, when we basically do the analytics, the front face should be visible momentarily, maybe for a 1 or 2 seconds, because obviously people are asked to wear the mask. So the mask will always be there, but for the face identification, the person need to take out mask for at least for 2-3 seconds. What we need are the computer with a good graphic control unit to do the processing. The same thing is for the social distance, a good graphic card and a accuracy calibration for of the CCTV image just for one time for a reference. Otherwise, the same images are used for different purposes, you can see. Next slide, please. Now coming to another aspect which is of safety is in the industrial sector is on the construction and operation safety. It is our, you can say, the most important algorithm of ours, which have been tested by few very big companies, especially in the power sector. And this one algorithm has been able to cater more than 100 cameras from 17 different remote sites and giving the real-time violations happening all those sites. All these project sites which I have been mentioning are spread out in the area of around 1200 to 1400 acres of land, and different CCTV captures different violations, while the major violations which are on the real-time basis are on the helmet, safety jacket, boots, goggles. The same, there are other violations like detection of unauthorized area entry in a restricted or a hazardous area, then fire and smoke in the open area. We have seen that we don't have fire or smoke detectors in the open area, but the material or even the large stores are always sometimes there in the open area also. So your normal CCTV, again, the existing ones can capture this, and immediately on the real-time basis, you get the alerts either through on your central database control room system and also through the app about any such detection of fire or smoke in the open area. Another detection, which is again very uh, relevant, especially in the large project site or the manufacturing units or even in the large warehouse, is a human being lying on the ground. The person may be sleeping, or he may have just fallen down because of some medical issue, or may have fallen from the top. But the whole idea is the detection should be immediate so that the timely action can be taken. In different scenarios, whether it is large projects or large manufacturing units, it all depends how good your cameras are. Are they PTZ cameras or the fixed cameras? The algorithm works on all. And we have regularly done the detections for a distance of 250 meters to 500 meters, and also tested it for even 1 kilometer of detection and doing the real-time violation detections. So these are few of the images. You can see some of the CCTVs are from a very, very awkward angles also, but the detections are very, very accurate. Another AI module which we have developed is on the defect detection, again from the images. This module has been developed more from the images which are taken from the drone mounted cameras, or even for the high rise, or the where it is difficult for the person to climb, or it is unsafe for the person to climb. So they're using the machinery like drone, or uh, even a helicopter in large projects and all that. Any such images are always generated in exabytes, terabytes, and it is very difficult humanly to go through each and every image to find the defect. So our algorithm, we have developed this algorithm who automatically, on the uploading of the images, automatically detects and mark the defects like rust, missing nut bolts, undersized bolts, and to some extent for the transmission industries, insulator damage and conductor defects also. We have done also this type of work for, you can say, the dedicated power line for a large automotive industry. And we have been doing that work, also being, as Ishani has said earlier told, that I being from the power sector always have this type of, uh, uh, you can say, a soft corner for the power sector and finding the defects and all that. So working for also the large car manufacturing company for their dedicated transmission line for the maintenance of that.
Right. So I think conscious of time.
Sorry.
So
this is my last slide.
Okay.
I think. So again, another part which we have been doing is on the digital progress monitoring. This I've been doing for again a greenfield power project, where the entire platform is being used for a digital project monitoring, where the senior management or the people from the head offices are not required to travel to the project site. They get the complete 3D platform, 3D images, as well as the exact site progress through a platform sitting in the offices only.
Right.
And
I would imagine these things all computer vision based. It kind of gets me back to the neural network. Some point in time I was doing within analytics, right? So this is really great, Swati. Conscious of time, I know there will be much more application in the maintenance area, in the shop floor area for manufacturing, right? Surely the previous ones are, in terms of social distancing, in terms of calibrating the safety precautions and compliances and all. So conscious of times, Ishani, let's switch to the last slide, and then I think we have few questions which we'll address hopefully in next 10 minutes.
Sure, thank you.
Yes, sure, Vivek. I'm just going to be doing that.
So what I will do is, while Aditya has already given a good overview of challenges, right? And of course, we have been working with companies like Volvo, Eicher, right, for a larger digital transformation. There are different types of companies. One is who have not started their journey. One is who have started, but they are kind of in between. And third is Volvo, Eicher, who has actually gone much beyond, right? So Ishani, if you can just get all the points there,
Sure.
conscious of time, right? So what this speaks about, we have been doing our industry research going across. So of course, Aditya, from your perspective, you know your challenges clearly, but this is coming across the industry, what you see out here, right? Apart from the first one, right, which is more around the safety compliance, no-brainer decoupling and reconnecting the supply chain, where Kush brought a solution as well, a LoRaWAN-based solution, which can be deployed, right? And there are, of course, other ways to also achieve it if it is not LoRaWAN. Then I've been speaking with associations like ACMA, CIAM, right? They have been talking about localization of Chinese components, right? Of course, leads into domestic manufacturing. Surely, Aditya, this will affect your operations as well, where we are lobbying with government, and government is trying to create a very good reform, right, in terms of whether it is a GST holiday or a tax holiday for those companies who are front runners of technologies and being digital, right? Zero defect you talked about, right? Zero defect and quality assurance with efficient production. There are ways and means through computer vision, which Swati talked about. We can achieve a zero defect, so that in process alerts can be generated at the right time for you to have minimum rejections. Ravi talked about digital integration. Data is a strategic asset now, right? Ultimately, whatever we do in this whole world, whether we call it IoT, AR, VR, or whatever it is, right? It has to be translated into a meaningful, actionable insight or an action, right? While I see, Aditya, your organization is moving towards decision support system to decision automation, right? From being predictive to becoming prescriptive in terms of your taking actions. I think at the core, the integrated control tower view, whether it is for one factory or multiple factory, is becoming very important, right? Due to the travel restrictions, due to the manpower restrictions of travel, I think this will become a backbone, right? Integration and data and analytics will become the backbone. And that's what we are always at NAXTCOM and with the AI, we are trying to deal with it. Last but not the least, we all know that there is a remote work, collaboration, and virtual shift happening, right? A lot of things in terms of diagnostic and management and collaborations are coming into the real world. Next one, Ashani, please. So this is a model, very simplistic model, which we follow within our Industry Digital Innovation Consortium, whereas we discover, like for example, solutions from startups or solutions from small and medium enterprises, like what Kush has been evangelizing, right? We bring that into the ecosystem along with integration and analytics. We call it as IoT and AI, but it's a center of digital excellence, which you call as code, right? Code for coding, right? As it for deploying the digital systems. We design it through design thinking, bring all the parts of the ecosystems, whether it is government bodies, regulatory bodies, policy making, startups, small and medium enterprises, and then we bring it into a large integration from a pilot to a scale-up state, right? And we also have envisioned experience zones and living labs. So we have 4 labs across India to evangelize all this and make it more big, right? So with this, we will switch to questions quickly, right? And we will not spend more than 10 minutes on this. Rest we can of course answer. Over to you, Ishani. If you can just read out the questions from what has been coming before, so that we give the best chance for the people who have asked the questions much before. I
Sure.
see Anoop's question coming out there.
Sure. I will just do that. So there's one question that's asked, is it possible to tweak the systems for getting high data transmission?
I don't know. This question might go to Senra with Kush, right? I could understand that question. That's why I didn't respond to it.
Yeah, I think so. It was, I think, in continuation to the LoRaWAN question that somebody would have asked. So yes, the system can auto manipulate it to adjust to a higher data rate requirement. There's something called an adaptive data rate, which means if you are much closer to your base station, you get a much higher throughput. And the further you go, if you go 10 kilometers away from the gateway, of course, your time on air and your packets are going to take much longer to travel. And that has an impact on the data rate. So yes, the system can auto adapt if you use the ADR option on LoRaWAN.
Great. Next one, Shani.
Beyond manufacturing, can you share what new value is being proposed for the fleet owners and users of your buses? This question is directed to Mr. Srivastav.
So Aditya, I think what it says, the way I understand this, what is the new value being proposed? So I think it is addressing for the consumers of your buses that, from an organization perspective, would they see a new value for the people who own these fleets, right? With the new gamut of range of products which you have.
Basically, now all the vehicles are coming with the, we are going to provide all the vehicles with the telematics solutions, this telematics is going to give them the real-time information about the vehicle positioning. And also the lot of measures can be done. Basically, it is giving the fuel efficiency or sweet spot for driver. Then real-time location. The fleet owners can track the positioning of the vehicles, the turnaround time, the fuel efficiency, the breakdowns, the uptime. So everything is can be tracked there. Then there are other features being added in the vehicles right now. So I think it all depends on the customers, what they expect from the manufacturer. But as a general practice, we are providing all these solutions now with the vehicles. Telematics is going to be game changer. And also with that, we're also connecting our uptime centers, so all the vehicle will be real time tracked by our uptime center for providing the, unmatched kind of service to the customer. Because we know when it is like a conditioning monitoring. We're going to do the conditioning monitoring of the vehicles, buses, and our trucks. This is going to happen very soon. Actually, you'll get some, media coverage very soon about these things. So it's not still disclosed, but I'm just going to tell that we'll be ahead of the game right now.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
The next question that we have is, what challenges exist in India as compared to other countries related to application of Industry 4.0 technologies and supply chain?
I think this question is more to the supplier of technologies, right? I can take that very quickly. I think adoption is the biggest challenge. If I have to, whatever data we have collected, everybody is talking about how fast, how with high resilience people can adopt it, right? For some people, it is a catch-up game, right? They didn't think about it. They thought, time will ripe and then they will invest and then they will come on board with technologies. In fact, there was a related question, right? I keep on hearing from a lot of associations that their suppliers, and maybe that question was from Adrian to Aditya, and Aditya beautifully responded that, right? How do you get your suppliers, your MSME, to also get into the adoption of digital technologies? It's not only the big fish. No, your for tier 1, tier 2, your ancillaries. Ancillaries are still within your gamut, but tier 1 and tier 2, you don't have much control on. So India has a challenge of adaptability, right? It is already there for adoption. There are players, there are suppliers, there's a good amount of people who have got the technologies, people like Kush, Swati, right? There are many more, right? It's just that they have to see it with a meaningful eye and with the right ROI, right? What they spend, what they get. There is, of course, a curing time for you to get the results out of it, right? I think biggest challenge which we cannot address as this group is at this stage is the working capital issue, right? When the industry has revived. But yes, I think this is the time when people can establish, like I was speaking about domestic manufacturing, right? Establish a state-of-the-art digital organization or a factory that would set an example for higher efficiencies for them.
The next question that we have is, what risks have your organization faced related to Industry 4.0 technologies? And how have you coped up with the same? What strategies were used? I believe this question is directed to Mr. Srivastav.
I think Aditya responded to this question. Maybe a very quick response, Aditya.
Yeah, I think I don't think any risk here. Basically, it is like challenges are there, but I think we have to think about that what is good for us or not good for us, and that's what we do actually. And risks are limited actually. We nothing lose in case if we adopt something. Ultimately we'll fail that. But it's good to do is experiment rather than fear of failure in mind.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Sometimes cost angle comes in mind, but that can be overcome with the benefit associated with that. If you do the calculation little bit, you can go ahead with that.
Correct. Absolutely. Absolutely. Maybe we'll take one more last one, Ishani.
Sure. There's this one question that somebody has asked to how many gateways were required to operate this warehouse?
Oops. I think this question is very deep inside the technology. It is with Kush.
Short answer. Short answer. So just 2 gateways for the entire campus.
Sorry, Kush, we couldn't understand. Are you responding to this?
Short answer is just 2 gateways for the entire campus.
Aja, okay.
Okay.
There's one more, I guess, Ishani, we can take. I like that question. What causes risks in supply chain? What are the effects of risk factor in the supply chain performance? Right? Yes, I think let me mold that question, last question, Aditya, to you for this forum. And of course, we'll discuss it more. You have executed, implemented so many projects, so many in progress, right? What are those teething issues which you are facing as a plant operations head, right? Where you should have a 360-degree view, where you feel the technology, right, can help you, right, to take, just something which does not take away your nights, right, in terms of thinking those problems.
No, actually speaking, we have so many priorities around us all the time, and though of course we're on the automobile side, but the variety of business is different. The type of problems are different for each plant, and getting these so many information, so much thing happening around us, getting in a collected form, coming to in a crisp fashion to me, like so many information and priorities, how to see in a condensed way based on priority. That is still not very good,
Right.
Different location, different people, different product lines and challenges end to end. Visualizing everything in a comprehensive fashion is still a challenge.
Right. Right.
And
So we have,
you
Ravi, we
talked
have
about a nerve center, something like nerve center, getting everything collated. We are trying to work in that area and creating sort of a team, generating all the best practice sharing, at the same time information gathering and putting in a collective fashion. We are working towards that, but that's a challenge right now, because that's
right.
important for making the decision, right decision. And somebody said, like right message at right time. I think Mr. Ravi said, and or Vivek, you or Kush said that that is important for making the decision for the leaders.
Right, right, right. So Ravi, we have work to do, right? So surely, I think this is a validation for us on the challenges. We keep on talking to different people, Aditya, and we will come back to you for sure because we are hearing the same from people across, right? We were talking to a large tractor industry 2 days back. They are also facing the same kind of a challenge. The only thing is you are slightly ahead in the race in terms of some I4 executions, right? But yes, people have developed so many discrete systems that at times also one of the challenges which came from one of the people were that left hand side is not equal to right hand side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which means that one side is giving an information where that there is an alert, other side says it's all green, right?
Yeah.
Which is slightly dangerous, right? And as a decision maker, you are stuck in between. You will not average out the risk,
Yeah.
right? You will always go to the risk which is red and assume that it is a risk, right? Even if the green is correct. So I think this is what we evangelize to bring the use cases. And of course, as I say, everything converges into data and decision making. Decision automation is something which is the next era, right? Integration decision making, where you have been given what decisions to take and you click it, it's executed, right? It
Yeah.
happens in the banking BFSI industry right now as we speak. I have been in a couple of implementations there. Yes, it has to happen because still some of the automations technically is possible, but now you as a person would not let it happen go, right, automatically, right? Still there is you need to have a confidence on the system, right? And there's a learning curve around it. So with that, I think NASSCOM will, of course, endeavor to continue these additions to graduate more and make it more meaningful for the industry-wide people, the kind of industries you saw in the beginning. And people like us and joining hands with not even AI, a lot of other ecosystem players, whether it is startups like Swati, whether it is small and medium enterprises, whether it is government on the policy. She talked about a drone solution. We have cleared the way for drone solutions from NASSCOM because they were stuck in terms of execution and scaling some solutions because of policy issues. We have our international trade team, and also our events and membership team, which brings a rich experience all wide. And along with the research team, we evangelize what is best for the industry and follow the discover, design, and scale innovation model, right? To deploy it for different industries, right? And being very much platform agnostic. So with that, we can call it as an end. Thanks very much, Aditya, for your time and for your extra time, I would say, 20 minutes beyond your time. I know you're a very busy person. And thanks to Ravi and Swati and Kush, everyone. Looking forward to meet as a team into a small round table to get into solving problems for the industries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vivek, and thank you, Ishani, for all the coordination.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. Thank you, Raviji and my
Pleasure.
presentation. Thank you very much.
Bye.